What's up everyone, Skizzers here, and in this episode we will be going over Phoenix. Whether you're returning from the ashes or pushing through the fire, your enemies will learn to fear you once you've mastered these skills.
Enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Before we get started, I just wanted to thank you for all the support so far on the channel. The comments and feedback sent to me really means a lot, and I'm so happy to hear that the videos have been helpful for you guys. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so first off here, let's look at Phoenix's abilities and some combos to get you started and get you thinking about the bigger plays you can be making. First off, we have Phoenix's wall. Phoenix's wall lasts for roughly 7 seconds and can be thrown as a straight wall or be curved. You can even S-shape it if you'd like. If you step into or near the wall, you will be healed for approximately 70 health over the 7 seconds it is up and active. Phoenix's molly lasts for roughly 4 seconds and can be thrown or lobbed depending on what you want to do in the situation you are in. I almost exclusively just throw it, but lobbing can be useful occasionally. The molly only heals for 45 health over the 4 seconds while it is active, but can be earned again for use by getting 2 kills after using the ability. Phoenix's ultimate lasts roughly 10 seconds, and after the time expires or you die, you return to the location you were when you first used the ult. Be careful though, because an animation will always play when you're coming out of the ult and you're vulnerable during that time. The enemy can also see where you use your ult, indicated by a flaming circle on the ground. Phoenix's ult is incredibly good for gathering intel as well as trying to trade your extra life for a member of the enemy team. You should always be running around in sights, trying to take any duel you can because there's no negative for you getting killed and the enemy has everything to lose, so you should be pushing that advantage every time you can. Phoenix's flashes take about a half second to be tossed and a full flash lasts about 1 second. While turning away from a flash, you will be blinded, but it'll only be for a quarter of a second to a half second depending on how far you've turned away from the flash. Phoenix's bread and butter combo is combining his wall with his flash. Flash can be comboed with any visual disruption ability, examples being Phoenix's wall, also Viper's Poison Cloud, Brimstone Smoke, Cypher's Cage, etc. The whole combo is basically you stand on one side of the wall or visual disruption ability and you use your flash through it to the other side. You won't be blinded being on the other side of the wall and the enemies will be blinded, so that's always a good option if you're looking to quickly peek through visual disruption abilities or any kind of sight take. Once you're comfortable with the range and curve of the flash, you can make it so that your flash barely pops out through smokes and walls so the enemy doesn't have any time to react. This is the best use of flashes as it is so much harder for the enemy team to react while you're throwing it, where it just barely peeks out of that smoke and they don't have any time to turn away or to line up a spray from the angle which you would be peeking from. Another good use for Phoenix's wall is if you don't want to cut off line of sight but you still need the healing that it can provide, you can throw it into the nearest wall next to you. You'll still receive your healing that you're looking to get, but you won't have your vision blocked by the wall itself, allowing you to continue to hold angles and take firefights. Phoenix's mollies can be used both offensively and defensively. The most common use is to take a 1v1, win, then molly the ground where you're standing to get some of that health back that you just lost before taking your next fight. If you need to flesh out an area, however, it can be used in this way as well, throwing it behind enemy cover to either get them to run out of the cover or they'll burn and die hiding behind the wall. You also get it free every round, so don't be afraid to use it more often. Now this next section is 100% completely my opinion and what I like to do when playing Phoenix. I like to start out each pistol round by buying one flash, buying the wall, and getting a ghost. Another good purchase is to go light armor, 2 flashes, and 1 wall, and you'll be using the classic in this situation. If I win pistol round and was able to get a few kills, I like to buy light armor if I had lost my original one during pistol round, a phantom or vandal, this is completely preference depending which one you like more, and then with the remaining money I have, I'll go and buy my abilities, and I always prioritize flash over wall with Phoenix. The main reason for the Phantom/Vandal purchase round 2 is that my party had run into these 2 guys that were running tests and simulations on what the best round 2 buy could be, and with their results, after roughly 20,000 simulation scenarios, they concluded that purchasing light armor plus a Phantom or Vandal gave you a 60% chance to win the second round over doing a heavy armor and SMG buy. Now I can assure you, I haven't personally tested this 20,000 times in real games, but I have seen a lot of success going choosing this route over the various other round 2 purchases that I have tried. If this kind of round 2 buy seems a little bit too all in for your liking, other round 2 purchases could be heavy armor plus martial plus all abilities if you like sniping, heavy armor plus spectre plus all abilities if you want to play it a little more safe, or if you want to save up for an op, you can always go heavy armor sheriff all abilities. If you win the pistol round but you don't get any kills, you'll usually be sitting around 3,000 credits, and in this case I like to buy light armor, a bulldog, and all of my abilities. If you lose pistol round, I always purchase all of my abilities, and then depending on my remaining credits, I'll either buy a shorty shotgun and play super tight angles, or I'll buy a sheriff. With half buys, I typically will go for light armor, spectre, and all abilities. And the standard full buy that you would do as long as you have the money for it is heavy armor, phantom or vandal, and all abilities. You can always replace the phantom or vandal with an op if you're sniping, and if you are short on money but want to buy an op, you can always go light armor plus op, or if you're feeling a little bit risky, want to go that glass cannon approach, you can go no armor and op. It's a risky way to play, but if you don't miss, you can always pick up armor on the following round. Alright, so talking about some of Phoenix's strengths here. Phoenix's strengths lie in him being a top tier entry fragger. You're always wanting to go for duels since that's the main reason you would be picking Phoenix, but Phoenix specifically also has the option to heal himself after a duel. His whole kit revolves around him getting a kill, creating an opening, healing himself, rinse and repeat. With the tools available, you are a very self-efficient duelist that can take on multiple fights, come out on top, continue to heal yourself, continue to push your advantage, and it really allows for somebody who enjoys entry fragging, but also doesn't necessarily want to rely on their team, like a Sage always being there to heal them. So with Phoenix's weaknesses, I do expect some of this stuff to really get ironed out as time goes on and players become more and more familiar with Phoenix, doing more things like the advanced flashes we talked about, where you just barely have it peek over edges like smokes and things of that nature. But currently, one of Phoenix's biggest weaknesses is more of a player issue than a Phoenix issue, but it's not doing those flashes where you don't hit that perfect range where it just barely pops out of the smoke and blinds people. Right now, what you're seeing is a lot of people just kind of sitting really close to a wall, chucking out a flash so the enemy can see where the flash is coming from, and then they have the option of either already running away, looking away, or in most cases, they'll just aim where the flash came from, and as soon as they actually get flashed, they'll just start firing, which means you as the Phoenix player will probably walk into bullets and end up dying because of it. Another issue Phoenix has is he doesn't have a great way to get into sites by himself beyond his wall, which is pretty reliable to walk in with, but you might not want to use wall in that scenario because you might want to keep it for healing for later. That being said, this is where the whole team aspect comes in though, where you can get your team putting up their walls or their smokes, and you can entry off of that, and you can keep your wall for later, or you can just use your wall as an entry. Though I do like to keep it for healing, it's obviously very good for using it to enter into sites or to block off vision points, just like the wall is meant to do. These issues that I find with Phoenix, I think will get ironed out as players get better and better, but for now these are things you might want to think about so that you don't run into these issues as you are improving as a Phoenix player. So for my closing thoughts here, Phoenix can be very predictable, but as you learn him, you'll be able to nullify that weakness and turn what people may be predicting into something you can take advantage of. Conditioning enemy players is something I do a lot, and I can make an entire video on how to properly condition enemies and what to look for when conditioning, but for now I'll leave you with something specific to Phoenix. You can purposely start early rounds using your flash in really obvious ways, like we said earlier in the weaknesses, where you might just stand closer to the edge of a wall and kind of throw your flash out a little further, and using your flash in obvious other ways to kind of condition the enemy to expect that. They'll be looking for that moment since they'll have time to react. Then you can go ahead and start using your flashes with more well-placed and well-timed flashes to catch them off guard. So now they're going to be getting flashed way more often because you're placing them better. And then on the following rounds, they won't be sure if you plan on doing these long lobbed kind of flashes, these really quick flashes, and this is going to give you a little more freedom to play that mind game. This is just one small section and it's very specific to Phoenix in terms of conditioning, and although I don't think you should always try to do this kind of conditioning, this is just an example that you can kind of take into your own games and think of other ways to condition your enemies. I did think it might be helpful for you all to kind of hear an example of conditioning. And like I said, I can make an entire video on how conditioning works and the mind games you can kind of create within these games. But for now, I'm just going to leave you with that tip. I hope this Phoenix guide was really helpful to you, and I hope that you're more confident now playing Phoenix as a whole because of this guide. If the video was helpful, please do not forget to give this video a like. It helps me out a lot, and it allows me to reach people that might be looking for a Phoenix guide. So every like really matters, and I do appreciate all the support that you guys give me in these videos. Subscribe for more educational Valorant videos, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one.